Until next time, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.
Step back, talk game like Dame. Now they all know our name. Crossover, then go straight to the hezzy. I'm a thugger like Denny. Small market, yeah, we making it big. Now we got too many cameras. Clinging on guards like Drew. You can't even move, ain't nobody stopping us. Rip City Turner, we making some noise. Pass to the present, we get it like Roy. More to be rockin', we bringing the force. Yang with a dime, that's a bucket, of course. If straight about it, dunk, you gotta move. Young and still hustling like Scoop. Come and tap in, see what's new. Blazers Uprise on the crew.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers today get a win over the Memphis Grizzlies 122-114. And for those of you that have been waiting to catch us live, I just want to say I appreciate you bearing with us. If you're watching back after the fact and have no idea what I'm talking about, stream 1, too laggy, was 15 minutes in, cut it. Tried to do a test stream, went live on the second link that I made for the stream, had to cut that. This is the third stream, third time's the charm. I just got through with a whole Xfinity agent fiasco that I might vent about near the end of this stream, but hopefully the stream's good. Hopefully we're back in action here. It's frustrating to pay for the biggest Xfinity plan and then have internet issues just in time for the post-game show. But the Blazers get a win. And it was kind of an eventful game. Donovan Clingan ejected in the second quarter with a flagrant 2. We're going to talk about if we think that ruling was fair or not. We're going to discuss the vets that stepped up today for the Portland Trail Blazers. Drew Holiday, 35 points, 11 assists, maybe his best game as a Blazer. Jeremy Grant pours in 30 points. And Robert Williams has 20 off the bench. The three vets stepped up and took control of this game to help the Blazers pull away from a short-handed Grizzlies team. The Blazers now 30-33 on the season. We're also going to talk about the bill that passed today regarding funding for Moda Center renovations. We're also going to talk about what I've found that's wrong with Scoot. Scoot's the hottest topic around the Blazers right now, and it's not for good reasons. He continues his struggles. He's 3 for 11 today from the field. And I've noticed one thing that's wrong with him. Out of multiple things. There's multiple things that he's struggling with right now, but there's one thing that I feel like we haven't really had a conversation about, and it's kind of an interesting one. So we're going to have that conversation in a bit. Eric, what's going on, man? How's it going?
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
Excited to repeat a bunch of stuff over again.
Yeah, well, I normally find the second time I say something, I say it a little bit better, so.
Yeah, true. Shout out to everyone who watched the first two.
Yeah. So I made a separate test stream that was unlisted. Nobody was supposed to see it, and then I went live on that stream and somehow went to the link that you guys all had. It made no sense to me, so everything's been going wrong. I'm still, a little bit sick. Not really. I just have a really bad cough that won't show up for 2 hours, and then I'll die coughing. So I'll try not to let you guys hear none of that. I'm just going through it today. But we're here. We're talking about a win. That's a good thing. I know this was a shorthanded Grizzlies team. The Blazers were 10.5-point favorites. They're now 0-4 on the year when they are, I think, 9 to 10-point favorites. So don't expect them to blow out a team, even if it's a G League-esque team, and that's what this Grizzlies team was. But happy that they get the win nonetheless, because they needed this win after dropping the previous 2. They're now 2-2 on the road trip. These are the type of games that the Blazers have on their schedule the rest of the year. They have the easiest schedule for the rest of this NBA season. But that doesn't matter if you don't take care of business against the teams that you're supposed to take care of business against. And that's what the Blazers did today. At one point in this game, it looked like it was going to be maybe even a loss. The Grizzlies got up by as many as 8 points, which isn't a lot of points, but against a Grizzlies team like this, it was a bit worrisome. I actually put $5 down on Kalshi that the Grizzlies were going to win. It was to win $22, so, long shot odds. But I was worried at one point in this game, especially after Donovan Clingan gets ejected. But then I realized, they're not using Donovan Clingan correctly against a small ball lineup anyway, so does it even matter that he got ejected? We're going to have that conversation as well. But let's take a look at the team stats. The Blazers shoot 51% from the field, 35% from 3, 61% from the free throw line. They were 11 for 18 from the free throw line. 20 offensive rebounds, always impressive to be able to get 20 offensive boards when you shoot 51% from the field, especially not having Donovan Clingan in that second half. The Grizzlies shoot a decent three ball. They're 44% from behind the arc, but the Blazers did a good job protecting the paint, winning the paint points battle 62-46. Eric, I know you already did this once, but what jumped out to you statistically from this game, as well as just kind of like the flow of this game, because the Blazers struggled there early and then took control late?
Yeah, well, the Blazers had 6 threes in the first quarter and only finished with 15, so not good shooting the rest of the way, despite Drew and Jeremy hitting some in the second half. Didn't get much from anyone else. Allowed the Grizzlies to shoot pretty well from the field. Now, the Blazers get kind of lucky. They have the 17 turnovers, points off turnovers. Didn't end up hurting the Blazers in this one, but that was because Memphis missed a ton of lay-ins and 11 free throws. So that certainly helps. And they could have extended their lead to a much bigger one if they were doing that. And then also the Blazers probably should have had a bigger lead after the first quarter as well, with the way they played in the first quarter with only 2 turnovers, but then come out in the second quarter and just play abysmal basketball. The second unit in particular was just dreadful in that period. And they got down, and then Donovan gets kicked out on top of it in that second quarter. And you knew this was probably going to be a battle. Luckily for the Blazers, Drew Holiday makes a bunch of threes in the second half, a bunch of step-back threes, and Jeremy Grant takes over with at least 16 points in that third quarter. I forget how much he finished with. But those two, and then Rob Will was steady pretty much the whole game, but he really stepped up once Donovan got ejected. And, Blazers found themselves in foul trouble at the beginning of the second quarter as well. That second unit just started hacking. Thibault had 2 fouls early in that quarter. And they ended up doing the same thing in the third quarter. It doesn't end up hurting them in that quarter, fortunately for the Blazers. But, they had some times where they had some silly fouls in this one. 17 turnovers is still a lot, even though it's good for this team, especially post All-Star break. But, I guess just good to get the win, despite what the numbers look like.
Yeah, the start of that second quarter was rough. The Blazers had 4 turnovers in the first 3 minutes and 17 seconds of the second quarter.
And 5 fouls.
Yeah, and 5 fouls. It's just this team has these stretches where they kind of lose their heads a little bit and commit silly fouls and have silly turnovers. And it happens kind of in bunches, it feels like. And it happened a lot in the early part of that second quarter. And basically, this is just the type of game where you have more talent on the floor, even with the guys you're missing. You just don't want to beat yourselves. In the first quarter, the Grizzlies kept it close. But the way the Blazers were playing, although I had some issues I'm going to talk about with the way they were playing, they weren't turning over the ball and they weren't fouling like crazy. So it was like, okay, they should be able to win this game just by not making mistakes. And then that second quarter started, and it was like, oh, there's the Blazers' mistakes that we know so well. And, there's various things throughout this game, like there is every game, that kind of run together where there's silly play after silly play. I thought one was the Grizzlies inbounding with about 4 seconds left from half court, and Thibault pressuring his guy so much that he has a free run to the rim to beat the buzzer at the end of the third quarter. I don't like how the Blazers have played situational basketball at times at the end of quarters, controlling the clock, and just, you don't want to give up a straight line drive to the rim with 4 seconds left. Just play solid freaking defense. But at the end of the day, you take care of business. 17 turnovers still isn't good enough, especially against this team, man. You should not be turning over the ball 17 times against this Grizzlies team. That's the average for the Blazers this year. It's the worst in the league. It continues to not improve. But I will give credit to Drew Holiday. He had 3 turnovers in the first half. And
a couple of bad turnovers where I was like, oh, man, what are you doing? Just losing the ball or bad passes.
Yeah, a couple, yeah. He finished with 3 turnovers and 11 assists. He had he had 4 assists to 3 turnovers at one point and finished with 11 assists, 3 turnovers. So did a really good job that second half. That was the best half as a Blazer by far, because not only was he finding guys, he was taking care of the ball, which he struggled with lately, and drilling everything. 8 for 11 from 3 for Drew. Just a phenomenal game. He's really scoring the basketball well right now. And I've talked about it. I don't understand a lot of the hate that he gets. Like, I get it. The turnovers have been a bit of an issue. It plagues the whole team. And I think there's some bigger reasons for that, on top of Drew being a little bit more sloppy than he normally is. But from a scoring standpoint, the last 3 games, he was 9 for 16, 9 for 16, 13 for 19. Super efficient basketball. 25 points, 23 points, now 35 points. He was efficient in the month of February, 49% from the field, 38% from 3, and now he's starting off March very hot. And this is the type of scoring that this team needs with their offensive struggles, with the guys that they're missing. He's stepped up for Denny and for Shea lately. Now, unfortunately, he needs more help than that. So, he has an efficient 23-point game against the Hawks, but they lose 135-101 because their defense doesn't show up and they still make a lot of mistakes, and not enough guys stepping up and helping them score. But, the issues with some of the losses lately haven't been because of Drew. He's stepped up and carried this team from a scoring standpoint. Against Charlotte, Atlanta, and now Memphis. This time it results in a win.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely huge tonight. Kind of said that we needed him to do all that. And that's not really his game, but lately he's been scoring. And, he had 10 assists or something tonight as well. So was doing a good job passing the ball once he stopped turning the ball over like he did in the first quarter. So 11 assists, so nice. Take that. Yeah, just a monster game from him. I was actually watching the Grizzlies broadcast on this one, and their color commentator just kept gushing about how there's no way this dude's played 17 years in the league. Like, he doesn't look like he's missed a beat at all, and like he still looks like he's in his prime or whatever. Yeah. And I guess if you've only watched him recently, you would agree with that. Maybe if you've watched him all season, you would think a little differently, but he's definitely stepped up these last few games. Unfortunately, 2 of them were in losses, but tonight it was enough to get the victory along with Jeremy and Rob's performances.
Yeah, I don't know. I think on the season as a whole, he's done a good job as a scorer. And setting guys up. I think the issue has been he's been more turnover prone, but he's playing in an offense that, for whatever reason, turns over the ball far more than any other team in the league. So how much of it is Drew being sloppy? How much of it is the offense having some systematic issues? I think it's a combination of both. But on the season, coming into this game, 57% true shooting, which isn't crazy efficient, but is a little bit above league average. I think league average is like 56 to 57, somewhere in there. So, it's solidly efficient. Only playing 28 minutes a game, but scoring 16 points per game. For those of you that care about per 36, that is 20 points per game, almost 8 assists. So that's offensive production. That's far greater offensive production than he had last year in Boston. Obviously, he had a different role. But I think the question was, okay, if he has higher usage, if he has more responsibility on the offensive end as a creator, given that he wasn't really utilized like that in Boston and now he's 35 years old, can he still live up to the billing? And I think while some of the turnovers have looked bad, and right now he's currently averaging it wouldn't even be a career high. It's almost a career high in turnovers per game. Outside of the turnovers, I think he's been productive. Now, the other criticism is just like he slows the ball down, and will take a lot of dribbles, is kind of slow and methodical. But I think in a half-court offense that kind of requires guys to break things down off the dribble and make plays, and the ball kind of gets stuck until somebody's able to do that. That's kind of what he has to try and do, even if it takes him a few dribbles to do so, because he's sharing the court right now with a lot of other guys that should not be going one-on-one or trying to break guys down off the dribble a whole lot. I have a lot more faith in Drew doing that than Tamati Kamara or Chris Murray or Sidney Sissoko or Scoot Henderson. So ultimately, yeah, the style of play I think rubs some people the wrong way, but it's effective, it's productive, and be interesting to see how he fits in next year next to Dame, assuming Drew's still here, next to Dame, next to Denny in a more off-ball role, kind of similar to what he had in Boston. But it's nice having that guy that can step up when you're missing your top two scorers and have a game like this where he's super efficient, 35 points. So shout out to Drew, our player of the game. Well, my player of the game, at least. I don't know if any of you guys want to go Jeremy Grant. He was also good today. But I want to talk about the utilization of Donovan Clingan against small ball lineups. It's extremely frustrating to me to watch this team play against small ball lineups and just park their 7'2" big man behind the arc. Now, I think it was extra frustrating because Clingan ends up like trying to clear some space or something or protect. I don't know what the play was that he picked up a flagrant 2, but I thought, A, it was kind of a BS flagrant 2. I was very surprised they called that a flagrant 2. But also, well, first, do you agree with that call that it was a flagrant 2?
Yeah, I actually thought it was. There's one angle that it looks like it's not, he doesn't really do anything, but the other angle clearly shows him winding up and leading with the elbow. And it wasn't just that. If it just happened that way, it would have been fine. But Donovan was progressively getting more and more frustrated in the plays leading up to that. And you could tell it was about to boil over. And I think he just made a poor decision to throw an elbow there. And, gets tossed. But to me, I think he got frustrated. And was it Omax that was up on him? I think he just had enough of him pestering him and threw an elbow. And I do think, going back and watching the replay several times, I do think that's probably warranted a flagrant 2 ejection in that case.
I don't feel it was as purposeful. I don't know. Although I didn't notice the frustration from him in the plays leading up, so I guess that kind of changes the calculation. But should you call flagrant 2 based on somebody just being frustrated in previous plays, well, maybe, because maybe you can claim, oh yeah, maybe there was more intent behind that. But at the end of the day, it's like, just officiate the individual play. And yeah, he caught him in the face with an elbow, but we see guys all the time try to protect the ball and swing their elbows and just clock somebody in the face. And it normally is not a flagrant 2. So that's kind of what it looked like to me, which is why I was very surprised that they called it that way.
There was 3 plays leading up to that where I was like, Donovan's got to be careful. He's going to get teed up or something. And then he does that. And I was like, oh man, he took it too far. I feel the opposite. I feel like he was kind of, I feel like he did throw it on purpose, and he was a little frustrated. I could see if they called it a flagrant 1, I would have been fine with that. I'm not saying it had to have been a flagrant 2, but I wasn't like, oh man, that's a terrible call. I thought it was, it was borderline 1-2. I don't think it was like the worst elbow ever, but I definitely can see why it was called a 2.
I saw NBA accounts posting just that singular play, and it seemed like the consensus from NBA Twitter was that's really a flagrant 2. Does Draymond get ejected for that? No. That's kind of the consensus. So,
I think he does now. Yeah.
well,
I mean, now that he's got a reputation.
yeah. But I'll do a chat poll. Do you guys think it should have been a flagrant 2? I vote no. I think that was kind of a little strict there. But regardless, I feel like the Blazers played him in a way to get him frustrated. Like, when teams go small, this goes into game planning going into games. When teams go small, the Blazers have no game plan to try and punish teams with their 7'2" big man. They don't do anything to get Clingan the ball down low around the rim. They don't really try and post him up. He can pass out of the post. Like, you should be able to run some offense through your big in the low post that can pass in his 7'2". Going up against, I mean, who's the tallest player they started? Omax Prosper is 6'8". Clingan has a 6-inch advantage on him. Because that's the thing. If they're being physical with him down there, that's where Clingan can impose his will. He's not going to impose his will if they're being physical with him out on the three-point arc. Right? But the Blazers, just at the start of this game, played Clingan like he was a 6'8" forward out on the perimeter. And it drove me insane. Like, you've seen teams go small, especially these tanking teams. A lot of them will go small. You have a 7'2" big man. That's a great opportunity to work on something different, to mix it up a little bit offensively and run some offense through him in the low post and see if he can take advantage. And if he doesn't, if he's not able to take advantage of a guy 6 inches shorter than him, then okay, fine. But his strength is more so down there against a small lineup than playing on the perimeter against 5 mobile guys that are always going to run out at him, and he's not able to do anything with the ball. So obviously you still run him in some pick and roll and try and throw the lob over the top. Robert Williams had opportunities all game long. Some he finished, some he didn't. Just by being an athletic 6'8" big on the pick and roll. But it just baffles me offensively, the inability to take advantage of what should be a size advantage at the center spot.
Yeah, and this was my concern when he started shooting so many threes. The tendency then is to kind of float. And there was a period where he was doing a pretty good job of balancing when to pop and when to roll for the lobs and when to go for offensive rebounds. But short of one play in the last 3 games where the Blazers did lob it over the top and he got an easy bucket, I completely agree with you. It's the lack of just taking advantage of what the other team gives you, or what you should be able to exploit from the other team giving you. That is really frustrating, and it's something that's plagued the Blazers for a long time. Just not the inability to get easy baskets when you have a clear mismatch. And
Is that a Clingan problem or is that a coaching staff problem? Because to me, if the coaching staff made it an emphasis, like, hey, they're running a small ball lineup, we're going to feed Clingan in the post a little bit. Donovan, I want you down low on the block. We're going to get you some post-ups. Like, just try to make the right play out of it. If you guys see a cutting lane on the weak side available, make that cut. I feel like Clingan would execute that. He would go post up, and maybe he wouldn't execute, making the right pass or finishing the post up, but he would go post up. He wouldn't be floating around the three-point arc. So to me, it's like, is that a Clingan issue, or is that just the coaching staff doesn't emphasize that going into a game when they should?
I do think a little bit has to do with Clingan. Just, he's not like a go get a bucket in the low post type of big, but I don't understand why the Blazers can't try to see if he can do it. Like, he can just, like, Omax isn't going to block a shot even if he just turns around and shoots over the top of him. Clingan's got a pretty high release on his shot, so I think that would be a good play to do that. But outside, because when Rob Will comes in the game, so you could kind of see, like, well, maybe Rob Will's doing that when Clingan isn't. All Rob Will's, Like he had one that was like he beat everyone down the court and they lobbed it over the top to him and he got a dunk. And there was another lob where he caught the ball, came down with it, and then dunked on the other side. But other than that, it's all like tip-ins and lobs around the basket. It's not really take advantage of your size type, other than because Donovan does the same thing, but he's not around the basket for as many lobs as Rob will is. If you just like percentage of plays they get lob opportunities, but neither of them are really posting up or like shielding a fronter, like if you're getting fronted in the post, sealing them on the backside. And Blazers could swing the ball around and the Bay can seal on the inside of the hoop, and then you swing it, and then he's sealed behind him, the defender, and you can throw it right into him, and he'd probably get a dunk in that situation. There's so many things you can do, and you don't like against a normal size team. You would do like cross screens and stuff that we've always talked about. The Blazers never doing, but you don't even need that against a team that has no center and is playing super small. So I think it's more just the coaching doesn't really make that an emphasis or a priority to exploit that.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. I mean, how many times have we seen a set designed to get the ball around the rim to finish? Like they don't run a lot of sets, and they definitely don't run sets to try and get the ball around the rim to finish. It's just not an emphasis. They don't post up. And this is the type of matchup where you're kind of playing into the opponent's hands by not emphasizing that, because that's where your advantage is with your 7'2" big man against a team that's all 6'8" and below. So I think defensively as well, if you go back and watch, it was 2 of Jemai Meshak's threes where a small ball team is going to put Donovan Clingan in pick and roll and guard space, right? As a small ball team, normally you have 5 shooters out there, 5 guys that are quick, and you're forcing Donovan Clingan to guard one of them on the perimeter, close out on one of them on the perimeter, etc. Defensively, you have to get creative to allow Clingan to kind of play around the rim, and then you want to rotate away from the corner and allow Clingan time to rotate out to a guy that's further away from the ball. So what I mean by that is they run pick and roll with Clingan guarding the screener, and Clingan's in drop, and the screener pops, okay? The guard will go downhill at Clingan, forcing him to stay in the paint, and the Blazers could switch this, but they didn't at the start of this game. If you're not going to switch this, you don't want Clingan being responsible for protecting the rim and drop and then also getting all the way out to the guy that's popping. Instead, what they should be doing is the weak side corner rotates up to the guy that's popping, and Clingan can play around the rim. And essentially, the guy that's guarding the corner guards the first pass out between the weak side corner and the wing. And it's essentially like a normal weak side help side rotation where you X out where somebody has first pass and you give Clingan time to get the second pass, right? You get creative with your rotations against a small ball lineup if you're going to play Clingan so that he can play drop and doesn't have to guard the guy that's popping, and then doesn't have to guard the first pass, giving him time to rotate out to the second pass. But they don't do anything different against those types of lineups defensively with their rotations. And essentially the game plan's like, okay, Clingan, you're just going to guard the shooter we respect the least, and it's fine if you give him wide open threes. Jemai Meshak went 3 for 4 from 3 today. We've seen numerous games where the guy that Clingan's guarding, Clingan is making no effort to get out on, and it's clearly the game plan, and they go off from 3. Sometimes it's a big, sometimes it's a wing. Sometimes it's Brook Lopez, sometimes it's a Kongwu, sometimes it's Josh Hart, right? Sometimes it's Jemai Meshack. It's frustrating to me how the game plan should be different going against a small ball lineup. And this is a good opportunity to work on some of this extra stuff so that Clingan is an advantage against the small ball lineup. And instead, they play in a way where he's not an advantage at all and instead becomes a bit of a disadvantage sometimes on the defensive end. And they're not doing anything to punish it on the offensive end. And it's just a game planning issue.
Yeah, completely agree. I think Eric Olson said 70-30 coaching versus Donovan in terms of blame. I'd say, yeah, I'd probably say 75-25. But yeah, it seems like on both ends, especially on offense, it seems like it's just like, okay, we're not going to give you many opportunities, Donovan, inside. We just want you to create your own opportunities. And he's getting a lot of offensive rebounds. I think 2 of his baskets there in the second quarter were putbacks. But man, yeah, I think on both sides of the ball, the way he's being used is a little frustrating. But he's so good, he's overcoming it a lot of times as well. So
yeah,
shout out to him for doing that.
That's kind of their attitude towards the entire offense, like go make your own opportunities,
right, yeah.
You know?
True.
So
yeah,
it can get frustrating for a big. So, yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I need to bring back the clipboard so I can explain what I'm talking about defensively. I used to pop up a clipboard. I'll bring that back. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about in terms of the way they should rotate defensively with Clingan as the big against the small ball lineup? If anybody's in the live chat and understands what I'm saying, anybody in the comment section watching back after, let me know. If I had a clipboard ready, I would illustrate it, and it would make a lot of sense. But, yeah, there are ways that teams can allow their big man to play more help side and then not have to rush out on a rotation so they're not put at a defensive disadvantage. And then take advantage of your size and size of the other end. But the Blazers don't do that. They play into the hands of small ball lineups, and it's frustrating. That's why Clingan wasn't an impact maker in this game. He's been very impactful lately, but in a game against a small ball lineup where he should have advantages somewhere, he's not an impact at all. So a lot of people, I feel like, blame that on Clingan. Oh, he's so slow defensively, and he's not a post-up big. It's like they don't game plan defensively to his strengths, and then they don't try and use him in the post in the first place. So anyway, let's jump into some performances. We talked a little bit about Jrue Holiday in the intro. Anything to add to his performance? I mean, he just made shots all game long. 13 for 19 from the field, 8 for 11 from 3, 35 points. That little slow kind of step back where he kind of does it's like a shuffle to the side. It's a little different, but it's money for him. He's been hitting that shot lately, and he has some tough threes in this game. Really fun to watch him light up the nets. Was there anything you wanted to add to his performance?
Who did you say?
Jrue, yep.
Yeah, I mean, it almost got to the point where it's like, okay, Drew's going to take a step back 3 on this one. Like, you could start to predict when he was doing it, but he was cooking with it. And those are all like such tough threes. But yeah, I mean, he had it going on today, and even threw in the little basket at the end to give him 35. That wasn't a 3, but there was he hit back-to-back 3s at some point in the second half, and I think the Grizzlies were kind of going on a run there and like thinking that they maybe could still pull this game out, and he just killed them with those 3s.
Absolutely. Jeremy Grant, he took advantage of the small ball lineup because he just kept putting his head down and just driving guys right to the rim and finishing. You know, it wasn't anything where he was blowing by guys off the dribble. He was just getting them to open up a little bit and just driving into their chest, pushing them underneath the rim and then finishing. Just super simple offensive game from him, but also 9 rebounds. 9 rebounds. Oh.
I know.
Clap at home, because I don't know if I've ever seen Jeremy Grant get 9 rebounds. Is this a career high as a Blazer?
I feel like he's had 9 before, so maybe 10.
But like he had some possessions where he went and actually grabbed the ball. And it was like, okay, Jeremy, that's how you go pursue the ball. Because I was watching some of the defensive rebounding issues in the past couple of games. And the thing that drives me crazy about Jeremy is like the ball will come off to him. It'll come to him. And instead of like jumping forwards and like going to the ball to catch it, he'll kind of just wait for it to come down and somebody will come in front and steal it from him. And he does it all the time where he's just like sitting there waiting for the ball to come to him instead of just attacking the basketball. There's a couple plays today where he actually just went and attacked the basketball. And he could be a 8 rebound per game guy. He's athletic and lengthy. It's just he doesn't attack the ball on the boards, and it drives me insane. Today he had some good rebounds. So this is maybe the most complete game of the year for Jeremy. 30 points, 4 assists to 2 turnovers. Was trying to feed Robert Williams on lobs. He's a lob thrower now, so really, really good Jeremy Grant game.
I just looked it up. This is his 4th season in Portland. He has, it says his career game highs in a Portland uniform. 2022, 2023, he had 10, and 2023, 2024, he had 10.
So almost a Blazer high, almost tied for a Blazer high.
Yeah. He had 14 once on another team.
That's crazy. Watch that game back. Can't believe it.
Yeah, so he has. What did he? Yeah, he had 29 and 10, 29, 10 and 5 game back on December 28th, 2023 against the Spurs, in a game where the Blazers lost by 13, despite Jeremy Grant's one of only 2 double-doubles in the Blazer uniform.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's 2 more than I thought he had, though. So
yeah,
shout out to him.
Anything impress you about the way he attacked today?
I mean, he's good when he gets to the rim. Well, sometimes. I thought I don't know what he finished from 3. What did he shoot from 3? 3 of 8. He had a couple in the second half. Just kind of like Drew's. They were backbreakers for the Grizzlies, and I think we really needed someone. I mean, we needed 2 people, I guess, to step up, and especially without Donovan and with Tamani's lack of shooting. So thankfully, that third quarter in particular, Jeremy just put it on himself and got the team away from a bad loss. But I just, he's aggressive usually. I mean, there's been a couple of games lately where he's started off or tried to be aggressive and it's not working, and then he just kind of gives up the rest of the game. But it was nice to see him just be I don't know, it did feel like he was determined to get some baskets, and we needed it.
Yep. One quick final note on Clingan. He had 4 blocks in 12 minutes and nine boards and 7 points.
Yeah, he was on his way to a
triple-double. He was on pace for a triple-double. He did that in 12 minutes. So he was doing a great job protecting the rim, just got to find ways to cover him on the rotations out to shooters instead of just making him the primary guy to rotate out to the first pass. It should never be that case against a small ball lineup where they're all kind of similar, so you can switch and rotate. There's not really cross-matching there. So you got to find ways to make it so he doesn't have to rotate to first pass when he's playing against small ball lineup, so he can stay around the rim and block shots like He blocked Gigi Jackson. Didn't even have to jump. It was impressive. Tamani is in a brutal shooting slump. Since the All-Star break, he is 12 for 50 from 3.
Yeah.
That's 24%.
Yeah.
And he's taking questionable threes for a guy being in a slump. The transition pull-ups are starting to drive me crazy. The corner threes today, Eric. He went out at halftime and was shooting shots from the corner because he couldn't make a corner three in the first half. I think there was 4 wide open missed threes off of scoop passes to him, by the way. I think there was 3 in the first half to the same spot, the same play, the same pass, where they were just helping off of him, and he couldn't make the defense pay for rotating off of him. That's the type of shot he needs to hit to make defenses pay for rotating off of him. But he's been in such a slump, and he was struggling to shoot this game. It's like, okay, I'm not surprised the teams are like, all right, we can rotate off this guy. If he makes threes, so be it, but he's not making threes. Especially with how he shot the ball lately. So I've talked about how Tamani has these stretches where he struggles from 3, and then teams start to kind of disrespect him as a shooter. There was a stretch earlier this season. I think there was a game against San Antonio where they were just daring him to shoot, and he wasn't making them pay. And unfortunately, there's just these games where he gets left wide open, he gets some wide open threes, and he'll miss them. But then he'll also compound it with, like, he doesn't have it going, and then he'll shoot a pull-up off the dribble 3 in transition. It's just like, dude, realize when you don't have it going. I understand, like, keeping your confidence and whatnot, but keep shooting the open threes, because you can get open threes. They were giving you open threes in this game. I don't understand the contested off-the-dribble pull-up when you're struggling this bad from 3.
Yeah, it seems to be several Blazers that have that issue, though. But yeah, I just, even if he's hitting threes, I mean, not to say that I don't like the confidence in that shot, because I think confidence is important to a guy like Tamani and for like a 3-and-D type player. But yeah, like Thibault does the same stuff. It's like, okay, you're a good enough 3-point shooter sometimes, but you're not, like, if you're just like, your best case scenario is like 38% from 3, you should never be shooting those type of threes unless it's like you're like Dame or someone who shoots that on like 10 threes a game, or more. I have an issue with anyone doing it, and especially when you're struggling as bad as you are and you're acting like you're on fire. And those are like shots you take when you've made a bunch of threes, not when you're having in the middle of an 0 for 7 game.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Let's have the Scoot conversation. So, during the second half of this game, during dead balls, during timeouts, I was watching Scoot Henderson G League Ignite highlights. And what I was looking for was just, what's different? What's different, right? And I actually noticed something. Looking at something in G League compared to now. I do not like the way that he's moving right now, but I don't know if it's anything to do with him not being 100%. And what I mean by that is he's getting stuck in a stance offensively where there's like how do I explain this? I'm trying to figure out the best way to word this. Like, you can tell he's going to go a certain direction before he starts moving that direction. Like, there's a load up to a lot of his moves where he's kind of down in the stance and kind of getting a little stuck and a little stiff, and he's not explosive out of it. And also you can kind of tell, when he's about to go. And I was looking at the G League. When he played in the G League, he was a little bit more upright, but like very bouncy and very like twitchy and like snappy with a lot of his moves where you couldn't predict them. And he's quick, but if defenders can tell you're about to go, it doesn't matter. You're not going to beat them off the dribble if you're telegraphing your moves and you're kind of stuck in a stance and you're playing a little stiff. And that was something I noticed, like, compared to the G League, where obviously the athletes in the G League are worse. But there wasn't, the moves where he'll, like, cross over and he'll hang the ball and he'll kind of, like, hesitate and then he'll go that way and you can tell he's going that way, but he'll, like, pause and kind of, like, stiffen up and then go. And it's not, like, smooth and it's not, like, twitchy or bouncy or shifty at all. He didn't really do that a whole lot in the G League. In the G League, it was a lot more, like, snappy and twitchy. And I don't know what's happened, but I think that's an issue with him not being able to beat guys off the dribble. He shouldn't be that much less athletic than he was in the G League. Obviously, he's playing against better athletes, but, like, a lot of the moves he had in the G League were stuff that I think would work a bit at the NBA level. The problem was he came in as a rookie and, like, didn't know how to slow down. So he's, like, playing way too fast. And last year, I thought he did a good job of kind of, like, mastering pace a little bit while still playing somewhat quick and it wasn't completely predictable off the dribble. Right now, he just seems completely predictable off the dribble. And there's not any shiftiness because, I don't know. I don't know if he's getting, like, too low or too much in a stance, but he's, like, ends up in these stances where he can't really accelerate both directions out of them. So it's kind of easy to predict where he's going, and it's just not quick. So I'm always somebody that, when I scout prospects, I obsess over, like, movement patterns and the way guys move. That's something I noticed. And it's making it so he just can't break down guys off the dribble right now. And then you couple that with a three-point shot that is wildly off right now. At the start of this slump he wasn't missing badly a whole lot. A lot of them were, like, in and out. A lot of them were close misses. He's missing wide open threes badly now. And it's just progressively gotten worse. And we're on let's see here. We're on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 game stretch now where he has been abysmal from three. The 3 games before that, he was good. He was 3 for 5, 2 for 4, 3 for 7. The misses weren't bad. It was like, okay, the Scoot that we saw last year that shot 35.4% from 3. Right? The last 6 games, you couple the kind of inability to break down guys off the dribble that I just talked about with the 3-point shot that's abandoned him, and that's why he looks so bad right now.
Yeah, I was noticing that in this game particular, he tried to drive several times that he just had no separation, no burst. Was just not getting around anyone. And even off a screen, he was going through the screen and like there's this defender right there in front of him still. So yeah, he's definitely not getting that. I don't know if, like you said, he's telegraphing it or something's wrong or what, but he just cannot blow by anyone right now. And I think the shooting struggles are really hurting him. We know coming into the league and throughout his first year, and then at the beginning of his second year before he started to shoot well, the book was out, make him earn it or show you that he can make shots and just don't let him drive. And I think right now that teams are going back to that strategy, and it's probably smart to do right now on him because he seems to be a little bit in his head as well. But I think part of the problem is I think teams are comfortable with letting him try to beat us by shooting. And unfortunately, he's not making enough of them to get defense to play honest either. So I think both of those factor in. I don't know. Do you think because like obviously he's like a very muscular person. Do you think he's like maybe too bulky, too
I've
big
thought about that
in that regard?
I thought about that,
Like,
but he was
just the
pretty
quickness,
bulky
maybe?
when he played for the G League too, and he was moving.
Yeah,
He was
but
moving differently.
I don't know if it was like I don't know how to explain it without. I'm not calling him fat, but like it didn't seem like Desmond Bain bulky, you know, like it seemed like he was just a little bit bigger of a guy, you know, like and now I mean he was physical, like he's always looked kind of muscular, but like it just seems like as it goes on, it's like he's more and more shredded, you know, like it might I don't know.
Yeah,
Because his form looks better though, so like I can't necessarily say it's messing up his shot.
yeah.
But yeah, I think his mechanics are still pretty good.
Yeah.
And a lot better than I thought he would be coming out of college in terms of just how it looks. But
I think the shot is a confidence thing as much as anything right now.
Yeah.
But also I have to wonder, like, are his legs not all the way there? Because you see, like, all of a sudden the way his touch is getting worse on shots, and then the way he's struggling to, like, move off the dribble. I wonder if his, you know, he comes back off an injury, like, is he 100%? I'm not going to make the excuse for him that he's not, because he should be, but, you know, that's something that I wonder. But, I mean, the biggest thing to me is, like, off the dribble in the G League, he played with, like, a skip and a rhythm, you know, and he'd get outside of his defender's shoulders and give himself, like, angles to attack, and then he'd use his speed. And there's no lateral, like, movement to his dribble. There's no, like, crossing over, like, raising out of a stance, getting outside a defender's shoulders, and then crossing back over. You know what I mean? There's no, like, shiftiness left to right with this dribble game at all right now. It's a lot of, like, staying super low in a stance at all times, shoulders forward, going, like, right at a guy who's just set in front of him. You're not going to beat guys off the dribble that way. I highly recommend, Eric, go rewatch some of the highlights, and just focus on some of the movement. He played with the skip, and he'd, like, change levels with his shoulders, and he was like always kind of in position to explode either way. And now he's just constantly low and shoulder forward and kind of like stuck in this stance at all times, and he's not shifting his defender at all. He's not shifting himself at all. And he's not setting up moves to beat anybody off the dribble right now. So people worry about the finishing, but he's not even putting himself in good positions to finish. At the G League, like, his game needs to be, I can beat my guy cleanly off the dribble and then either win the race to the backboard to finish, hit a floater if there's help there, or make the right pass if there's help there. But it's all predicated upon winning at the point of attack off the dribble. And that's what he was really good at in the G League. And the idea was, okay, you know, if this guy can be a good pick and roll guard and win at the point of attack at all times and then just make the right play as a passer or athletic finisher, you have yourself an all-star point guard. But when the shot's not there and he can't win at the point of attack at all, he can't play his game at all. And it's just completely different seeing him break down defenders at the point of attack, and I don't know why. I don't know what happened. But it's something that I was literally like looking at plays from the G League during dead ball. Okay, game's back. I'm looking at Scoot in the same situation, try and break down a guy off the dribble. It's just like two completely different players.
Well, you did mention something that could be a factor that you kind of glossed over a little bit, but I mean, it is different breaking guys off the dribble at different levels, and the NBA is the toughest level to do so in the world, and it could just be as simple as his burst isn't quick enough to get by players at this level.
But like a lot of the moves he made in the G League were moves that were like so quick that like, oh, I think that would have a chance of working in the NBA. But it'd be one thing if he's like making these moves and getting stopped, but like playing with the skip and playing with the shiftiness that he played with at the G League, and you know, it's just as simple as like just shifting over to the right to get outside of your defender's box, right? To get your shoulders outside of theirs so you have an angle. And he doesn't even do that. Like, he does not create any potential advantages for himself or potential angles for him to attack off the dribble. So it's one thing to, like, try and create that angle and then still not be able to turn the corner off the drive because you got a defender that slides fast enough. He's not even doing the first part, so.
I have to go back and watch what you watch because I never thought that was easy for Scoot. I always thought his athletic ability was kind of overhyped a little bit, and so yeah, I'd be interested to go back and look myself.
Yeah, well, basically I saw somebody that would get himself a little outside of his defender's shoulders and then kind of like step into a move, but then be able to accelerate either way. Be able to accelerate into a cross or accelerate, and it was really hard for guys to play in the middle and take away both, and he would just read it. And now it's like super low and right at the defender. And he doesn't look like he's in position to accelerate either way. So it's just biomechanical stuff. Because I don't really know why would he be less athletic than he was in the G League, you know? I don't know. I think he was more functionally athletic. He played more functionally athletic, and I don't think it was just due to the competition. I think some of it was maybe confidence. In the G League, he played with so much confidence. In the NBA, you can tell he doesn't have the same confidence level. And I don't think that explains everything at all with the biomechanical stuff that I'm talking about, but I do think it explains some of it. You know, when you're playing confident and with the skip in your step, you're a little bit more shiftier. Like, and now he's like tense when he tries to break a guy down, and you can't be quick when you're tense. So
a little bit of it too might be, I mean, he's always been kind of, yes, if you look at highlights, it shows you the good moments of that, but he's also been a little loose with the ball and turned the ball over a lot. So maybe in trying to hone that in, they've kind of zapped that ability too without trying to like keep that while also limiting turnovers.
I just feel like, yeah, I do wonder if this was like the worst possible position for him to end up in. I don't know. Like, you can't say that we've done a good job developing him. It's hard to say that. And then you've had the veteran guards that are ahead of him. Like, if he came in day one and just had a full season to start, 2 full seasons to start and play 35 minutes and just figure it out, would that have been better for him? I don't know.
But some of that's on him. He didn't play well enough to earn that opportunity either.
Yeah. I'll say this, though. Like, I do wonder how he would have played at the start of this year if he didn't get hurt, because I don't think... Last year, he showed real progress. He went from 49 to 54% true shooting. His three-point percentage went from 32.5 to 35.4%. And he puts in a lot of work during the offseason. I mean, I think it's a pretty safe assumption that he wouldn't regress from year 2, given that the work he put in between his rookie and sophomore year showed up on the floor. Continue to put in work during the offseason. I kind of feel like he was robbed on the ability to build upon last season with this injury. And now he's playing like crap, but I don't know. With the way he improved from year 1 to year 2, I think like the last thing I would expect is regression like this in terms of his three-point shot, in terms of his ability off the dribble. So I do wonder, okay, if he didn't get hurt at the start of the year, would he have been able to kind of continue building? And I said before the season, I expect him first 20 games to maybe have a little bit of growing pains, but then kind of things will start clicking and he'll be even better than last year. That's kind of how it was year 2, right? That's how I expect year 3 to be. But obviously with the injury, it completely messes up that timeline, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, we said at the time the injury was quite unfortunate in terms of his development. Third year is really important, and like you said, to build off the momentum he had at the, after the slow start last year. But yeah, I mean, we always talk about outliers, though. Like, we could be looking back at his career and say he just had a little bit of an outlier hot shooting stretch last year. I hope that's not the case, but it's certainly possible that because like when you look at his overall numbers last year, it's still, I mean, not super impressive. It's still a lot of below average and very similar numbers outside of that 3-point percentage than his numbers the year before. So
wasn't he kind of shooting around 35% the second half of his rookie season?
I don't remember what it exactly was, but I'm just saying, like, when you look at it in totality, it doesn't really jump out that he improved that much just based on the numbers outside of that 3-point percentage, and it really didn't affect his like scoring average that much either. But
yeah, but given that he shot, it wasn't like 29% and then 35, like he was 32.5. It's not good enough, but it's like not, it's not as bad as being in the 20s. I don't know. It's still too early to tell what he is as a shooter, and a 6-game slump is not necessarily more indicative of him as a shooter than a whole season sample size last year where he shot 35.4%. He played, how many games did he played 66 games last year and shot above 35%. He was shooting 37, 38% until the last 6 games. And then the last 6 games, he's been abysmal from 3. And there's a lot of people that are acting like him over this 6-game stretch, this is who he is as a shooter. Let's ignore the 66 games he played last year. Let's ignore, the first 5 games of this season or whatever. This 6-game sample is so much more indicative than the 66-game sample last year. I think it's just, it's okay to be worried. I understand being worried. I mean, I'm a little bit worried, but if you take a step back and look at the picture, he had a far bigger sample size of shooting an okay 3-ball last year compared to this 6-game slump. And I've always said this, like, whatever's happened most recently always feels like what's the most real. But this is where he either continues to shoot like this the rest of the year, and then we have legitimate problems, and then I'm very legitimately worried, because then at that point you're talking about a more legitimate sample size. But he might turn it around. I don't know. It's going to be one or the other. So don't really know what he is as a shooter. The last 6 games obviously has been awful. Last year he was okay, so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Hopefully it turns around soon, because especially with the injury situation, we really need him right now.
Yeah. He is shooting. This is before this game, because I'm looking at Basketball Reference. It doesn't update with this game, but he was shooting 8 percentage points better from 2 than he did last year. Basically, fifth. Here, let's see here.
That's dropping fast.
Yeah.
Oh, tonight I guess wasn't bad. Or what did he shoot for?
I don't know what he shot tonight. He's getting to the free throw line more.
2 for 5, never mind.
His free throw.
Tamani was 4 for 5.
Yeah, but like 7-8 percentage points better from 2 than last year, and like 13 percentage points better than he was his rookie year. Okay, so that's better. And this is with him not being able to turn the corner off the dribble right now. The free throw attempts are also up from 3.1 to 3.8. The assists, he had some high assist games per 100 possessions. His assists are up from 9.3 to 9.7. He's just shooting a ton of threes, and he's missing a ton of threes. I think that's where the issues lie primarily right now. Yeah.
Can you expand on some of the reasoning behind why you think this is a terrible situation for him?
I don't know if it's a terrible situation for him. I've wondered if there are situations that would have been better for his development. I wasn't the biggest fan of Chauncey at the end of his tenure here. You guys know that. I also think it might have been better for him to just get as many mistakes out of the way and get as many learning experiences as possible by just playing a crap ton of minutes right away in his career and starting. Last year, he was used a lot off the ball. I don't know if that's best for his development. I kind of think he needs to go through some growing pains, and a lot of point guards need to go through growing pains when they're young and just have these learning experiences on the ball. And given the veteran guards, you have Malcolm Brogdon and Anthony Simons and Shaden Sharp, and there's always kind of been a plethora of guards. And now this year, I don't know. I don't know if that's the best situation for him.
So just curious so you think it's just personally for Scoot it's not the best situation? Because, we criticize Sharp a lot for struggling in that same vein. Is it not? Do you think it's a better situation for Sharp to thrive than Scoot, or is this a team?
To start, he's had the ball in his hands a lot this year. He's had the ability to make whatever plays he wants to make off the dribble, and he's more like ISO scorer archetype, and that's what our offense is. Is my stream the only one lagging? Nope, we are actually lagging again. So got it resolved for about an hour. Shout out to Xfinity. If you guys can hear us, then you guys can hear us. But yeah, shout out to Xfinity, man. I pay $120 a month for this internet. I don't even know if you guys can hear me vent.
Kind of back. Oh, the stream just ended.
No, I don't think the stream is ending. You can refresh back.
Well, okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think we're better now, though. Artelli says a little bit of bias towards Scoot. Let me know what you disagree with, man. If you don't think an opinion of mine is valid, tell me which opinion of mine you disagree with and why. I'd be curious. All right, yeah, we're back. YouTube sent me to commercial through it. Yay! Shout out to YouTube ads during the lag. I don't turn on automatic ads, which I could on these streams, but I don't want to hurt your guys' viewing experience, so I don't do that, even though, it would be better for the pockets, but I don't want to put you guys through that. But I guess it happens when I lag. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of people that say I'm biased towards Scoot, this and that, but, I'd be more curious to hear what opinion you disagree with in the chat. Fiber optic internet works well. Yeah, when I have my own place, I'll figure something like a place that I don't rent. I rent this place. Hopefully, I'll buy a house one day and do fiber optic. Maybe I can if I rent. I don't know. But I figured paying for the top Xfinity package would be good. I mean, it has been good. We haven't dealt with hardly any lag. This is kind of just random tonight. But it did go out 2 days ago. I was sick. I tried working a half day from home right when I get on. My internet goes out, and it's okay, I'm not going to go to the coffee shop when I'm as sick as I was. So, yeah, it was brutal. So I just hope that never happens. Anyway, Marv, you're not listening to me. Tell me what opinion you disagree with. Artelli says, year 3 of Scoot, and I have no clue what he's supposed to be above average at. Not a great athlete. Shooting is poor. Bad feel. I think he's a good athlete. I think he has issues with... He has the biomechanical issues off the dribble that I was talking about. Like, the way he sets things up is not the same as it was in the G League. But he's a good passer. He should be a good finisher. And his 2-point percentage is up. Like, the idea is he's somebody that can be an 8 assist per game guy and get to the rim and finish and knock down threes and run pick and roll and play some solid defense. Like, that's a good player. That's a damn good player if he can do all those things. Obviously, he has a lot of work to do, and obviously he's not playing well right now at all. But we've seen flashes of everything. It's just obviously harder to see right now when he's playing as bad as he is. But yeah, to what the Saddest Nation says, he says, year 3, LOL, why are we saying this? This is such bad faith. We know he hasn't played at all in Sat. Now he's just come back. Consider it the very start of the year, literally. Yeah, like, I mean, I said before injury, I expect him to have some growing pains his first 20 games of the year, and he's on game 11 coming off a hamstring injury that caused him to miss 50 games. Like, who he is as a player is definitely better than this last 6-game stretch, but, you know, worse than obviously his best performances as well. It's somewhere in the middle. But the reactions are always on the fringes. It's always the extremes or what the reactions is when him as a player is in between the people that come in the stream and say he should retire and the people that think he's guaranteed to be a star. Or I don't even know if those people exist anymore.
Oh, there's one in chat.
Yeah. Like the truth is in the middle. Okay, the truth is in the middle. Yeah, like you don't have to overreact to everything. So yeah.
Yeah, and this is where the injury was really unfortunate because, like, everyone knew if he played bad coming back from this injury, there was going to be a lot of people piling on, and it's tough because he hasn't. I mean, he started out pretty good. Now you mentioned the 2-point percentage, but that was a lot better and is being propped up by him shooting really well his first handful of games from 2. So you have to wonder if that was just a small outlier too. I was really hoping that finishing, he had taken a step there. But now he's not even getting to the rim enough to really tell if it's there or not. Yeah, it's just I'm hoping he can get out of this.
Yeah,
funk.
I mean,
I feel like if he just makes some threes, like he could get some defenses to play him up a little more and maybe be able to blow by him again.
Yeah, I don't even think the 6-game stretch, if he was just making 37% of his threes, I don't think people would be freaking out at all. I think it's mainly the 3-point shooting. Here is what he shot from 2 during the 6-game stretch. The 6-game slump, okay? Today, he was 2 for 5. Last game, he was 2 for 5. The game before, 3 for 5. The game before that, 6 for 7. The game before that, 6 for 12. The game before that, 3 for 8. So there's a couple games there where, he's 37 to 40% from 2, but there's also some games where he has finished well, attacked well inside the arc during the 6-game stretch. It's mainly just the 1 for 6, 1 for 6, 0 for 5, 0 for 7, 1 for 4, 1 for 6 from 3. In some of these misses with how bad they are. What's up, Muvsy? Anyway, that's the Scoot conversation. That's going to be the longest conversation of every game right now, I can tell. Because even before we start the stream, that's 50% of the comments in chat. At least 50% of the comments in chat are about Scoot.
Well, the conversation gets taken in a ridiculous way by both extremes of the conversation, right? You got one, people coming in here saying he's a bust, like you said, he should go to China or like retire or whatever, and then you got someone guaranteeing he's still going to be an all-star and will start next year over Dame and all this stuff. Is like it's neither of those extremes, and yeah, it's the conversation gets so crazy.
Trevin says you're both siding the Scoot convo. No, he's not, Trevin. Stop trolling. Okay. This is literally the reasonable take, is not to be one of the extremes and not say insane stuff. Like, you can't guarantee he's going to be a star, and you can't, like, sitting here saying he should retire and give up is just hater BS. You're just a hater if you're saying stuff like that. So, yeah, like, we're doing what we always do. We talk about what we see. We try and bring some facts to the table. I'm going over his stats, his production, and something of what I noticed on film. Like, that's a normal conversation. But that's not what you see on Twitter. It's not what you see from a lot of people. It's always extremes. It's always the greatest or the worst thing ever, as we've pointed out in many conversations about many things.
Arrow might need a timeout. See, that's not helping, Arrow.
Yeah, you can't say that as a mod, Arrow. You cannot say that as a mod, dude.
What the heck?
Cannot say that as a mod, dude.
And like, so you guys know I've always been concerned about Scoot's feel, his touch, his just, I don't know. It's weird. He's got good passing feel. I do agree with that, but just overall basketball IQ, I do kind of question at times, and it's not both sidesing it. I've said all along I was going to not be too hard on him coming back from sitting out for 5 months or whatever it was, or seemingly 5 months. It only ended up being 4 months. So like I'm just, I don't know what to make of this stretch with him just coming back. He was better than expected the first few games. He's worse than expected now.
Yeah.
So I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, what does that mean? I don't know yet. I still think it's, and you guys know I'm not the type that has just been screaming, just wait, he'll show you. Like I still think it's going to be a struggle for him to be like a really good player. But like I'm not going to kill him right now for how long he sat out. So
I still believe he will be a good player, but there's more of a caveat to it now. It's if he figures out how to attack off the dribble and break down guys off the dribble in a way like he did in the G League. The movement pattern stuff. I didn't really foresee this being an issue, but it's completely different to me, and that's what I realized today. Because I was watching it, like, dude, like, the way he attacks, why does it look like this? It did not used to look like this. That's why I went back and watched some of the older tape. I wish I could show highlights. I'd show you guys examples, but I'll get copyrighted. So, yeah, at the end of the day, what did Arrow say? I cannot say it on stream. I might get demonetized if I probably would get completely demonetized on the stream if I said it on the stream. So I can't say it. But yeah, Trevin's just been in this mode the past 3 to 4 months where he low key tries to provoke people. That's what that comment was. That's exactly what that comment was. He's been doing that a lot lately. So, our mods are getting on our nerves. Chat, let me know if you want to take a mod spot. Murray, yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Not okay. Not okay. Anyway, bench. Robert Williams. 20 points. Let me go to the box score. 20 points, 11 boards, 3 blocks, a double-double in 23 minutes, 9 for 12 from the field. Fantastic game. Was this his best game as a Blazer? 20 points for Robert Williams? I don't even remember him having 20 points. I just look at the box score after the game. Oh, he had 20 points?
They had that like 14 and 14 or something like that game a couple games ago too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he was fantastic tonight. He really stepped up. I thought we were in a lot of trouble when Clingan got ejected, and Rob Will made a couple of big plays in that second quarter to kind of steady the game a little bit. And we talked about this earlier with Clingan floating around the three-point line. Rob has done that a little bit, floated to the corners a lot lately. But he didn't really do that much in this game. I thought he did a really good job of exposing the defense by getting around the basket. And Drew did a good job of finding him a few times. And, yeah, just all around great performance from him. And, man, it's just – whenever he does this, though, Tori, like – I'm always like, dude, like, God, if you could only play the – like, we really needed him against Atlanta the other day.
Yeah.
Like, I just wish we could play him more.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think the defensive rebounding is a bit worse with him in the game, and teams get to the rim a bit more because Clingan just has such a huge impact in that regard. There's some stat like teams shoot at the rim 9% less with Clingan on the floor compared to anybody else. Now, some of that might be, if Robert Williams isn't playing, it's a small ball lineup and there's no rim protection, or you have Young and there's no rim protection, or you had Doo-Wop and there's no rim protection. I kind of wonder what the difference is from Clingan to Rob Will, because Rob Will is a good defender, so I was kind of surprised to see that difference considering Robert Williams is the backup center, but he's been very good lately. So
very curious to see what happens with Rob Will this offseason. If the Blazers make it a priority to bring him back as the backup center, or if we're just gonna
I want somebody
let him walk and get that.
I would rather have somebody that's healthy, that can play some defense, that can maybe control the defensive glass a little bit more, considering that's such an issue.
Yeah.
It's like he'll grab boards, but I don't know. I think there's some bigs out there that can maybe control the defensive glass a little bit better. Maybe that's not backed up statistically. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind him coming back as the backup center. It's just tough when he can only play one game of a back-to-back. And right now, we've been pretty lucky. He's been healthy all season, Like, if we bring him back, here's the issue with taking a freaking Young Hansen with the 16th overall pick. I don't think he's good enough to be the third-string center behind a Robert Williams second-string center next year. Yeah. Because some games, you're going to need your third-string center to play. And Young, I still don't think is going to be ready to play. That's a problem with taking him 16th overall. If you bring back Rob, you probably need a better third-string center, which means you have to have 4 centers on the roster because you also have Young. So that's the issue. Anyway, moving on. I just got to say this. This is going to be a 30-second conversation. People pining for Caleb Love is kind of driving me crazy. Have you seen his G League stats? I know he's only played 3 games. He's shooting 25 field goal attempts per game. He's shooting 39% from the field, 22.6% from three, true shooting percentage of 46%. His stats in the G League are worse than Scoot's stats in the NBA this year. But also in the NBA, I don't know what Scoot's true shooting percentage is going to be after this game, but before this game it was 52.5%. Caleb Love's is 50%. So even with all these struggles, Scoot, I still think after this game, still having a more efficient season than Caleb Love. So there's that. But everybody's figuring out about Scoot. Loves Caleb Love. Caleb Love should play. He's better. Anyway, just had to get that off my chest. Rest of the bench. Blake Wesley, 6 points, 2 for 3 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3. He made a couple threes today. That was cool.
Yeah.
That was his first made 3 since the last time we played Memphis on February 7th. It's been almost a month.
Yeah. He had a couple Thibault moments on defense where he went for steals that he had no chance of getting, and it put the defense in a bad position. But
last month he played 13 minutes a game. How many steals per game do you think he got?
I'm guessing less than 1.
0.5.
Yeah, half is nice.
So, he plays 13 minutes a game. 1 out of every 2 games he'll get a steal. He should not be making mistakes being overzealous for steals. He doesn't get... Like, the thing with Thibault is you can say, he gets a lot of them, so he kind of offsets some of the risk he takes. Blake Wesley doesn't get enough to take the risks that he does sometimes defensively.
Mm-hmm.
So, just play solid defense. Let's see here. City Sissoko plays 22 minutes, 4 points, 2 for 5 from the field, had 2 boards, 1 assist, 3 blocks, 3 fouls in 22 minutes. That's not as good of a rate as normal, where normally he'd have 4 or 5, but 3 fouls in 22 minutes, still contributing there.
Yeah, he had that one nice backdoor cut and reverse jam.
He can't dunk going forwards, but he can dunk going backwards.
I guess. That was nice. Other than that, yeah, he was frustrating this game.
He had a fast break finish, too. I think that might be the first one of the year where he's decided to go 1-on-2 or 1-on-3 on a fast break, and it actually worked out for him. So, some new stuff from City today.
Yeah.
Krejci plays 21 minutes, 3 points, 1 for 5 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Made a couple nice plays, had a nice steal that he fed Grant perfectly on the break, filling the lane. Was a really good fast break. That was a great play. With a guy like him shooting 4 threes in a game, one game he goes 1 for 4, the next game he goes 2 for 4. That's still a good 3-point percentage. That's close to 40%, right? So he's not shooting 8, 9, 10 threes a game where there's a whole lot of sample. You say there, be like, oh man, this was a bad game for him. But if he makes 1 more 3, it's a good game for him. I like that he got 6 boards in 21 minutes. I like the 3 assists. He had a couple good defensive possessions. So I don't think it was a bad game at all, even though he's 1 for 5 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. It's just he didn't make that second 3 out of the 4.
Yeah. He just, it was his only turnover, so I guess I'll give him some credit. But the Blazers give up that 3-point shot with a few seconds left in the third quarter, and then Veit throws a terrible, he jumps in the air and throws it out of bounds, and then they get the ball with 3.6 seconds left. We sub in Tamani for Veit for defense, and we still let Clayton go all the way in for a lay-in, so we give up 5 points in the last 10 seconds there. That was not good, yeah.
That was just a stupid stretch of Blazers basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got caught. He was gonna. I'm rewatching that play. It was like he was gonna throw it to Grant, but then maybe thought he was past the half court line and was stuck in the air. Like, just don't jump past there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those things where, like, sometimes this team will do this where they'll get the ball and they'll try and run, but they don't like get the ball all the way to the sideline. Normally when you get an outlet, you want to kind of get to the sideline so you can see the whole floor and bring the ball up the floor. But there's times where, like, it's a steal and we get the ball kind of like, you know, around the elbow or something like that. And then we dribble up the floor, but there's like people on all sides, people behind, and we get into rough positions trying to run the break and make mistakes because of it. It looked like he kind of tried to push and then panicked. And yeah, that was a really bad turnover. Really, really bad turnover.
He got a couple of the cleanest threes he has gotten since he's become a Blazer. He made one of them, missed the other one.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that, like, 15-game stretch where he shoots like 50% on high volume because he's had those all throughout his career. So I feel like one's going to come and it's going to be really fun, but I also feel like it'll happen when there's more creation around him, better offensive players around him. Still like the floor spacing, still like the way he, you know, makes quick decisions. Will attack a closeout and then swing the ball. Like, the style play is fun. Thibault, 13 minutes, didn't score. The three he shot, well, he shot 2 threes, but the one he airballed, dude. How much time was on the shot clock?
I don't remember. It didn't seem like it was running out, though.
Yeah, he wasn't square when he caught it. When he shot that, I knew it was bad because I've never seen him shoot a shot where he's facing to the right and he, I don't know. It's like, dude.
Well, then there was the one, I don't know if he got credit for a turnover, if it ended up being a 24-second team turnover, but he caught the one in the corner with like 2 seconds on the shot clock, and he, instead of shooting it, drives and then throws it to nobody in the corner, and then shot clock runs out.
Yeah.
And he's got that stupid look on his face.
Yeah. Anyway, that's everybody from this game. Let's take a look at the standings. I don't have a graphic. I'll just pull up ESPN here. Let's just do... You know what? We'll use the Tankathon screen, because why not? That's what I have set up and ready. So the Blazers are currently in 10th. They're a game behind the Clippers. They're 2 games out of 8th, though. They're 2 games out of 8th. We may catch the Warriors, but be 9th.
By default, yeah.
Yeah. I think the Clippers are going to pass them. They're playing good basketball. They're still a good team despite the pieces that they traded.
Mm.
They just beat the Warriors. The Warriors are shorthanded. Clippers schedule coming up. Kind of a mixed bag, but man, there's a decent amount of easy games the rest of the way. You know, Memphis, Chicago, Sacramento, 2 games against New Orleans, Dallas, Milwaukee, Indiana, Milwaukee. You got a game, two games against Portland. One's on NBC Peacock. So
2 games against Portland?
Yeah, 2 games remaining against Portland for the Clippers. So those are going to be very important games for Portland.
I thought you were saying Portland has 2 games against Portland.
No, Clippers and Portland have 2 games, March 31st and April 12th. Blazers have an easy schedule the rest of the way. Can they stay close enough to make those games matter? They lost both the games against the Clippers. It's probably going to end up being a scenario where Portland needs to win both of those games. But they should hopefully be healthy. At least, well, they won't have Sharp, but hopefully they have a healthy Denny.
Hopefully. Keep hearing how great his workouts are.
I haven't heard that. Who said it? Is that what's being reported?
Yeah. They said it. It was the game he went out. Was that Chicago?
Yeah.
What was the game he left early in?
I don't remember.
I guess he came out at halftime and there was some
He was shooting around, yeah.
people were wondering if he was going to play. And then I guess every game on this trip so far, they've talked about how great of a workout he's gotten before the game. But
I mean, I don't think that matters. I think it's just basically, can he play without tweaking it?
yeah.
Is it 100% where it's not prone to being re-injured? I don't think that'll be the case the rest of the season. I think it's always going to get prone to being pulled. And I think some of it's maybe a pain tolerance, but I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like some of these games he'd be playing if it was the playoffs, but they want him to play like himself and pain-free, because obviously he's not playing the same if he's hurting because of how physical he plays. So, okay, he can go out here and do all these movements and stuff, but it's like, if he gets in a game, we've seen it multiple times already where he's retweaked it and hurt it. How do they know he won't do it again? They're not going to know that off a workout. He's going to play, and shoot, he'll probably play next game. He's going to play, and either he'll be fine or he won't. Like, I think there's always going to be a chance every game he plays that he tweaks his back again or bothers it some more. At what point do you just say screw it? And it's kind of interesting how he's like questionable today and then he's out, given that, you know, you saw the lineup the Grizzlies were throwing out there. It's kind of like, okay, we can sit you, but he has to play every game the rest of the year to win most improved or make an All-NBA team. Is like he coming back next game and they're hoping he can play every game the rest of the year and get to that 65 game threshold. Is that part of the calculation at all?
Well, some people are speculating that the Blazers want him to not qualify for the awards.
What's that?
Well,
'Cause the
especially
extension.
All-NBA.
Yeah.
The extension, if he's All-NBA, would be a lot more money. So I think they are fine sitting him out and having him be ineligible for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough game, though. The tough games coming up, Houston and Charlotte. Charlotte's one of the toughest games left on the schedule at this point.
Yeah.
You know, Indiana, Utah, like win one of these two Houston, Charlotte games and then win Indiana and Utah, and you're, 33 and 34? Chance to get back to 500 going on another 5-game Eastern Conference trip. Like this is the stretch of games that I think are really important, because after this stretch, I'm trying to highlight the Denver game too. After this stretch, you come home, you got Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Dallas, Washington. Like, you should be able to win all 4 of those. And then obviously you got LA and LA. Those are very important, but in between that and New Orleans, at Denver, a couple games at Denver. Denver's been struggling lately, though. Like, they are beatable, but we'll probably make them score 160 again. San Antonio, Sacramento, like, got a couple bottom feeders here, a couple tough games, Denver and San Antonio. But, like, you're really just trying to get to this March 31st game, like, in position where it's like, okay, we can beat the Clippers and have a stranglehold on the 8th seed, even without having the tiebreaker, because it'd be 2-1 if we win that game. You have this 4-game stretch, 4 wins that you should be able to bank on. Can you make up enough ground during this stretch where you got at Houston, come home versus Indiana, should be winnable, versus Charlotte, that's a tough game, versus Utah, should be winnable, then go back on the road at Philadelphia? I mean, who knows? You never know what Philadelphia team you're going to get. At Brooklyn, winnable. At Indiana, it should be another win. But then at Minnesota, at Denver, can you get one of those games? Like, I'm just very curious to see where they're at the end of the stretch. I think my goal for this stretch, that's 9 games. That's 4 games that should be automatic wins. That's 2 games that are tough, but solid chance to win. Those are at Philadelphia and versus Charlotte. And then there's 3 games that are really tough. They at least need to go 5-4, but I'm hoping they can find a way to go 6-3, which would require them to win one of the games at Houston, at Minnesota, at Denver, and then take care of business. The 2 Indiana games, take care of business against Brooklyn, Utah, at home versus Charlotte, and on the road versus Philadelphia. I mean, that's probably too optimistic to expect that, but because Minnesota kind of has our number. We had Houston's number, though. This game, I'd feel really, really good if they could go into Houston and take care of business against the Rockets like they did earlier in the year and end this road trip off 3-2. Had some bad moments on it, but the goal was 3-2 on this road trip. It would be really nice to come home off a win at Houston. This would be a great win to pick up. So Denny was questionable today. We'll see if he plays. If he can be himself, I think there's a chance that we can beat Houston on the road if we have a Denny that's playing like himself. So we'll see. Anyway, anything else?
No, thanks everyone for watching. Hope to see you back on Friday after that Rockets game. And be nice if the Blazers showed up and showed out for that one.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Appreciate you guys that stuck it through the lag issues. Hopefully that won't continue to be an issue. The support agent said I had a pending demo update or something. I have no idea what that means. And then he was like, okay, I'll run the update for you to update your internet software or something for my Xfinity gateway or whatever. I'm like, okay. And he's like, it'll be 5 to 10 minutes. Then after 15 minutes, he's like, okay, it'll be 5 minutes. And it's these automated messages. And then 5 minutes later, he sends me the same automated message saying it's going to be 5 minutes. It's like, dude. And during the time, he's like, please keep responding to me so I know that we're not disconnected. I'm like, okay. He's like, make sure your gateway's in a not by Windows or fish tanks or blah, blah, blah. And he sent that to me 3 times. And it's like, dude, I get it. It's fine. I need my wired connection to freaking work. And then he's like, you could set up a phone line. It's like, I don't care. I need my internet so I can freaking stream. It was driving me crazy. But yeah, so I don't know. Hopefully the update it improves stuff. I don't know. It hasn't been much of an issue. But hopefully we don't have lag the rest of the season. Anyway, appreciate it, guys. We're out of here. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. We'll catch you on Friday after that Rockets game. That could be a huge win. That would be one of my favorite wins of the year. I would feel a lot better if we can go into Houston and win that basketball game. But we'll see. We'll see if we can even be competitive. Have a good rest of your guys' night. We're out of here. Catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.